Okay, so today we will start reading from line number 221. So in this stanza, we'll see that Satan and Beelzebub, they were both, after great effort, they succeeded in reaching the land. As we know that they were all thrown into the liquid fire of the hell, and they were given a kind of excruciating pain. But now they have finally, after great effort, they have uh, flown up to the land. However, as it is described in this stanza, that the land is also, or it may be more torturing than the liquid fire in the lake. So here, as it is described, that the land, it is also very much heated, because uh, uh, in the lake there was liquid fire, but in the land there is solid fire. So this was the description by Milton. Solid fire, that means the land is solid, but still it is as hot and as torturing like fire. So, but however, uh, Satan and Beelzebub, they think that this land is a place that will give them much confidence, because here they can uh, make all other fallen angels appear or gather, and thus they can make a plan so that they can rage their eternal war against God. So, what is the description here? Forthwith upright, he rears from off the pool. So Satan is trying to swim upon the liquid fire of the lake. Forthwith, upright, he rears from off the pool his mighty stature. So here is the description of the hell, as well as the description of the appearance of Satan. And we also have had long description of Satan, his appearance, his largeness in the previous stanza. Here again, the poet describes how Satan reaches the land, and while he is swimming and trying to reach the land, his huge appearance is described. His mighty stature, that is his enormous figure, on each hand the flames driven backward. So as he was swimming upon the liquid fire, the fiery waves were receding back. So on each hand, the flames driven backwards sloped their pointing spires and rolled in billows, leave in the midst a horrid veil. So when he was swimming upon the liquid fire and he was advancing towards the land, it creates backwards, it creates a kind of a veil, a great hollow. So that indicates how much big Satan is. Then with expanded wings, he steers his flight aloft. So finally, he was able to flutter his wings. As you know, that angels are all they all have wings. So finally, he is able to uh, flutter his wings. So he's steering his flight aloft, incumbent on the dusky air. So he feels very much incumbent, because the air actually was incumbent. That means the air is the whole atmosphere of the hell felt a kind of heaviness. because of the weighty figure of Saturn. So as Saturn tries to flutter his wings, the air of the hell feels a kind of heaviness. So incumbent on the dusky air that felt unusual wet. So a kind of unusual wet that uh, that floats on the air, on the atmosphere of the hell, that felt unusual wet till on dry land he lights. He lights means he reaches on the land, um, or he steps on the land. Till on dry land he lights, that is, alights. If it were land that were burned with solid, as the lake with liquid fire. So, as I have mentioned, that as the lake were full of liquid fire, the land too is uh, full of solid fire, burned with solid. And such appeared in hue as when the force of subterranean wind. So here is a simile, a kind of comparison which may strike far-fetched or difficult to understand. Anyway, what does the poet says here? And such appeared in hue as when the force of subterranean wind transports a hill torn from Pelorus. What is Pelorus? Pelorus is the name of a place. It is in Sicily. Sicily, Sicily is a city in Italy. In this poem, we will find that there are many references to um, places in Italy. Why is it so? Why does Milton repeatedly refers to different places of Italy? Because before writing this poem, Milton uh, traveled along the different places in Italy. Okay, so which is known as Milton's Italian tour. So when Milton was in his Italian tour, he traveled across different parts of Italy, and those places were very much in his memory while he was writing this poem. And that is why, naturally, there are many references to the places of Italy. Okay, so Pelorus is a cape actually in Sicily. So what does the poet says here is that the plane on which Saturn reaches that resembles the bottom of a huge part of uh, burning uh, place in the Cape of Sicily, that is Pelorus. So this is a kind of a comparison between uh, the place where Saturn resides and a place in Italy. Okay, Pelorus, or the shattered side of the thundering Etna. So Etna is also a place in Italy, a place in Italy. Okay, so there is another reference uh, whose combustible and fueled entrails thence conceiving fire. Okay, so what does the poet says here is that entrails means inside anyway, whose combustible means inflammable. That means anything anything that gets that catches fire very fast, very easily, that is called combustible, whose combustible and fueled entrails thence conceiving fire, sublimed with mineral fury. So here is a reference to the inside of the earth, which is full of fire or heated metals. That is why here is that comparison. So the the place in hell, which is full of fire, that is described with the inside of the earth. Conceiving fire, sublimed with mineral fury, aid the wings, and leave a singed bottom. Singed means heated or burned. So singed bottom, all involved with stench and smoke. So the description of the inside of the earth, uh, as well as the hell. So singed, it is almost it seems to be singed, burnt up. So singed bottom, all involved with stench and smoke, that is full of smoke and a kind of stench, that is foul smell. Such resting found the soul of unblessed feet. So Satan has to place his feet upon that solid fire. Him followed his next mate. So after Satan reaches the land, Beelzebub also uh, follows him. So him followed his next mate. His next mate is Beelzebub, both glorifying to have escaped the Stygian flood. Stygian flood, here Stygian also means hellish. Okay, Stygian means hellish, hellish flood. Okay, so both glorifying to have escaped the Stygian flood as gods, and by their own recovered strength. So, what is the suggestion here? Beelzebub and Satan, they both think that uh, they have finally, by their great effort and strength, uh, reached the land. So that they feel highly proud of their ability. Him. So that is why it is said that both glorifying to have escaped the Stygian flood, that is the liquid fire in the lake, as gods, and by their own recovered strength. So they have finally recovered their strength, not by the sufferance of supernal power. So they do not need the favor of God or divine power to do the, uh, their ambitious things. Okay, so now we come to the next stanza. So here we see that Satan is now addressing Beelzebub, as they have both finally reached the land. Now they are conversing with each other. Is this the region? This the soil, the clime? We know that Satan, Beelzebub, they are all archangels, and they are very much used to the atmosphere of heaven, and now they are placed in a place which is completely contrary to the place that they used to live in their previous life, and that is why now um, they take much time to get used to the new place that they are thrown into, and that is why they are very much surprised to see the atmosphere of hell. Is this the region, this the soil, the climate, that is climate? Said then the lost archangel. Lost archangel means Satan, who is lost means fallen. This is the seed that we must change for heaven. So Satan now immediately decides, he has taken up his mind that this is the place now they must get used to. They must get used to uh, uh, the atmosphere of hell, though they are more habituated with the atmosphere of heaven, but now they must get used to it, however painful it may be or horrible it may be. So this is the um, uh, uh, heroic nature of Satan, that even after being punished with such a kind of uh, such kind of such kind of pain, he still uh, have that courage, he still have that confidence. So that is the beauty of this character, and that is why he's saying that uh, that they have to they must get used to this place, that we must change for heaven. So we must change this place for heaven. We must know that this is the place which now we possess. This mournful gloom for that celestial light. So mournful gloom. So hell is a place which is full of mournful gloom. That means there is only pain. There is no hope. That is why it is gloomy, and that is why it's also mournful. This mournful gloom for that celestial light. So celestial light means that is the atmosphere of heaven. So they must exchange it. Be it so, since he who now is sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right, farthest from him is best. So Satan thinks that even though they are now thrown out of heaven and placed in hell, but he thinks that uh, as they are now removed from or quite distant from God, uh, God cannot have any power upon them. So this is the place where they are completely free. They can enjoy freedom, even though it is uh, a place which is full of pain and horror. Be it so, since he who now is sovereign can dispose and bid what shall be right, farthest from him is best. So, um, uh, as far as we can go from uh, God, that's better. So he thinks that, but the our general concept or biblical faith, according to biblical faith, uh, one must be close to divinity. One must try to be near to God. So the nearer you are to God, the happier you become. So this is the uh, biblical faith. But here, what does Satan say is completely the opposite. That he tries to be distant from God as much as possible. Uh, so, according to biblical theory, biblical principle, it suggests that Satan is completely doomed, and that is why he is thinking in that manner. Farthest from him is best, whom reason hath equalled, force hath made supreme above his equals. Farewell, happy fields, that is heaven, where joy forever dwells. Hail, horrors, hail, infernal world. So now he is hailing. Hail means to greet something, to welcome something. So Satan is now welcoming the horrors of hell. Infernal world. Infernal world means hell. And thou profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor. So he thinks that he is the possessor of hell, new possessor of hell. One who brings a mind not to be changed by place or time. So a very powerful line. So here Satan says that um, place or time cannot change his mind, cannot have any impact upon his mind, though he is placed in hell, but he still have uh, that heroic nature. The mind is its own place. So a very significant line. The mind is its own place. So it doesn't matter in which place you are, it is the mind which actually matters. So if you have a powerful mind, you can enjoy the luxury of heaven, even though you are placed in hell. So, what one requires is the strength of mind. So, if you have a weak mind, you cannot even enjoy or feel happy, even though you are placed in heaven. Okay, so to feel happy, to be satisfied with life, or to have confidence upon yourself, you need what you need is a strength of mind. So this is what that makes this particular character so attractive. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. So another very significant, very powerful and attractive line. So here Satan says that if you have a strength of mind, if you have the willpower, then you can make a heaven out of hell. Okay, or a hell out of heaven. So if you have a weak mind, if your mind is weak, if your mind is narrow, if you are a coward, then you will make a hell out of heaven. So if you are given all the luxuries of heaven, it will turn into a kind of a hell to you if you don't have the strength of mind to enjoy it. Okay. And in the same way, if you have the strength of mind, you can make a heaven out of hell. So, however painful your life may be, if you have the strength of mind, you can still enjoy the luxury of heaven. What matter where? So, it doesn't matter the place where you are in. If I be still the same, and what I should be, all but less than he whom thunder hath made greater. So Satan says that for him, uh, it matters not uh, in whatever place he is thrown into, because his nature is always the same. It cannot be crushed. Okay, he may be crushed physically, but mentally he is always strong. As we know that many great men, great authors, they were tortured by the rulers, uh, the state or the rulers. They tried to suppress their voice, and they put them in the jail. But uh, they could only torture them physically, but they could not crush their strength of mind. Okay, so even staying in jail, in the prison, they inspired people by their strength of mind. There are many instances they wrote great works, great books while they were in prison in jail. So this is the suggestion that is made here. Here at least we shall be free. So again, a very significant line. Here at least we shall be free. So Satan says that in heaven we are not free because there we all have to serve God. So we are just slaves there. But in hell, though we may suffer pain, but still we are free. So this is the taste of freedom that Satan now feels or enjoys. The Almighty hath not built here for his envy, sorry, will not sorry, will not drive us hence. Okay, so God cannot control us anymore. Here we may reign secure. So here they are the rulers, they will reign, they will rule the hell securely. And in my choice, to reign is worth ambition. So for Satan, it is the worth ambition to reign. So he thinks that to take the charge of a ruler, to rule and to reign, to dominate, is the greatest thing that one can have. It is ambitious thing. To reign is worth ambition, though in hell. Okay, better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. So again, one of the most significant lines in Paradise Lost. Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven. So I think you have already uh, got the meaning of this line because it is already been explained. Now we come to the next stanza. So after being able to reach the land, the Satan now thinks that he should also help all the other fallen angels to get out of that liquid fire. So he should uh, provide them with some confidence. So he should encourage them, and that is why he is now addressing the fallen angels. But wherefore let we then, our faithful friends, the associates and co-partners of our laws, so they were their associates, they were their co-partners because they were all together fought against God, lie thus astonished on the oblivious pool. So they were all lying in the liquid fire, completely astonished, completely unconscious, forgetful, not in a normal state, and call them not to share with us their part in this unhappy mission that is hell, or once more with rallied arms to try what may be yet. So he addresses his followers, his fellow warriors, to take up their arms again and regain that heavenly uh, glory by resuming their war against God. Okay, regain in heaven and what more lost in hell. So Satan spake, and him Beelzebub thus answered, leader of those armies bright, which but the omnipotent none could have foiled. So Beelzebub says that Satan is the most powerful being after God. So no one except God could uh, overpower him, defeat him. If once they hear and voice their loveliest pledge of hope in fears and dangers, they, who are they here? They refers to the fallen angels, the numerous fallen angels who are lying in the liquid fire. So Beelzebub says that if they can hear your voice, they will regain their confidence. If once they hear and voice their loveliest pledge of hope in fears and dangers, heard so oft in worst extremes, and on the perilous edge of battle, when it raged in all assaults, their surest signal. So if they get the signals or the uh, any kind of suggestion from their leader, they will regain their energy. They will soon resume new courage and revive, though now they lie groveling and prostrate on you, lake of fire. As we rest while astounded and amazed. So we are also in a state of unconscious state of unconsciousness. Okay, but as we have also succeeded in regaining our uh, uh, former state, so the fallen angels, all other fallen angels, they could also get out of their misery. As we rest while astounded and amazed, no wonder, fallen such a pernicious height, because they are all thrown out of such a pernicious height from such a great height, that is from heaven. Okay, so now we come to the next stanza. Uh, he scarce had ceased when the superior fiend was moving towards the shore. So again, Satan is described here. Satan is moving towards the shore. His ponderous shield. So Satan has a shield that is a kind of weapon that is used in war. Shield. It is a ponderous shield, heavy and large, ethereal temper, massy, large and round. So here that shield is described, as we know that in epic, anything which is which has a value, or which has some kind of importance, that is described with a grand, which is described in a grand way, in a grand manner. So this is the convention of an epical convention to describe the value of something uh, in a high flying manner, with a series of comparisons and similes that I said, that which is called epic simile. Mm. So here shield will be described with a grand manner. Ethereal temper, massy means massive, large and round behind him, cast. So he has cast that uh, great shield behind him. The broad circumference, so its circumference is very, it's broad, hung on his shoulders like the moon. So it appears like the moon because it is so big, whose orb through optic glasses the Tuscan artist views. Okay, so here again a kind of allusion to Milton's Italian tour. You may say that it is a kind of digression, because in epic, digression is also allowed because it is one of its conventions. So, to describe the shield of Satan, here Milton refers to a very famous person in Italy at that time. Uh, who was that? Uh, it was Galileo. Galileo Galilei, that famous scientist, that legendary scientist. And we should know that when Milton was traveling in Italy, he also met Galileo. And why did he meet him? In a prison. So Galileo, we all know that Galileo was imprisoned because of his declaration that it is the sun and not the earth which is moving, and the earth is actually uh, sorry, the earth, it is not the sun, but it is the earth which is actually moving around the sun. So which completely goes against the biblical principle or biblical theory. Okay, biblical truth. And that is why he was put behind the bars. And at that time, Milton met Galileo when he was in jail. So this reference to Galileo is a kind of, you may say that it is a tribute to that great legendary scientist. So what does this line actually suggest is that the shield of Achilles is so big that it appears like a moon, the moon which is always watched by Galileo uh, all the day by his telescope, Galileo always tries to find different or discover different areas of the lunar region. So through optic glass, here optic glass means telescope, the Tuscan artist means Galileo. Okay, because Galileo he lived in Tuscany. Tuscany is a place in Italy. At evening, from the top of Fisel, that is another place in Italy, or in Valdarno to descry new lands. So Galileo he tried to discover new lands. Descry means discover new lands in the moon by staying in Valdarno, that is a valley in Florence. Florence, that is a famous city in Italy. Fesol, that is also a place in Italy. These are all hilly areas, and we know that to watch the sky, one should place the telescope upon a great height on the top of a hill so that the sky appears more visible. Rivers of mountains in her spotty globe. Hmm. Here, globe means moon. Hmm. So he tries to find or to know the various spots that one sees upon the surface of the moon. Okay, his spear means the spear of Satan. Spear is another weapon which is used in war. So here again, that spear will be described with long similes. So his spear to equal which the tallest pine hewn on Norwegian hills. So that spear is compared with the tallest pine in Norwegian hill, that is the hill in Norway. And again, it is described with the mast of a ship, to be the mast of some great amiral. Amiral means warship, that is ship which is used in war, flagship actually, were but a wand. So even the tallest pine in Norway, in the hills of Norway, or the great mast of the warship are just a mere stick or magic wand compared to the spear of Satan. Okay, so a very extravagant kind of comparison that is made here. Anyway, as it is an epic, so it is permissible here. So anything that uh, is important, powerful, big or large uh, is always described with extravagant language. Okay, with great hyperbolic speech. He walked with to support uneasy steps over the burning marl. Here, marl means soil, burning soil, not like those steps on heaven's azure. So, it is the difference is here made uh, very much palpable that while Satan used to walk upon the heaven, uh, and now the manner he is walking upon the solid fire of hell. So this is the difference. And the two reed climb smooth on him, sore beside, vaulted with fire, nathless he so endured. Till on the beach of that inflamed sea he stood and called his legions. So he is calling his legions, that is all the angels, fallen angels, hmm, all the all his uh, co-warriors, angel forms who lay entranced. So they are all lying entranced. That means they are all lying in a unconscious state, in a stupor, in a state of stupor. Okay, now we come to the next stanza. Uh, so here we'll have a description of the angels. Okay, the fallen angels, a great number of fallen angels who are lying upon the lake, thick as the autumnal leaves. So the fallen angels who are smarting upon the liquid fire. So they are so large in number that they are compared with autumnal leaves. As we know that during autumn, all the leaves of the trees fall upon the ground. So that image is used here to describe the fallen angels. Similarly, they are all lying upon the liquid fire of hell. That straw the brooks in Vallombrosa, again reference to a place in Italy, Vallombrosa, that is a valley in Florence. So the brooks means rivers. So the rivers in Florence, Vallombrosa, they all get just strewn with a great number of leaves. Uh, so the fallen angels look like same. Mm. Where the Etrurian shades. So here Etrurian also means Tuscan. Tuscany, as I said, that is a place in Italy. So Etruscan shades, high over arched embower or scattered sage afloat. When with fierce wings, Orion armed. So again, another comparison with Orion. What is Orion? Orion is a constellation, the name of a constellation, that is Kalpurush in Bengali. Uh, that is a constellation, uh, that actually resembles the figure of a hunter with a bow and arrow. Okay, fierce wings Orion armed with vexed the red coast. So the rising of Orion, that indicates sea storm, whose waves overthrew Busiris and his Memphian chivalry. So again, a very far-fetched, difficult comparison, uh, but still we have to uh, understand it anyway. So here is the reference to Egyptian story. Uh, that story, which is also uh, there in Bible. We all this kind of allusions are also there in the beginning of the book, as we have already read that story of Moses and other stories which are associated with the Egyptian people. So whose waves overthrew Busiris. Who is Busiris? Busiris is the king of Egypt and his Memphian chivalry. So Memphian means Egyptian chivalry. While with perfidious hatred they pursued the sojourners of Goshen. So sojourners of Goshen, that is the Israelites, who beheld from the safe shore their floating carcasses. Okay, so the Egyptians soldiers, they are all defeated in the war, and their carcasses, dead bodies, are floating upon the seashore. So that story is here alluded to describe the state of the fallen angels. So thick bestrewn, abject and lost, they lay these, covering the flood, under amazement of their hideous change. Now, come to the next stanza. Here again, Satan addresses his followers. He called so loud that all the hollow deep of hell resounded. So the voice of Satan echoed through the hell, the deep hollow. Princess potentates. So potentates, it means rulers. Okay, princess potentates, warriors and flowers of heaven, once yours, now lost. So everything that belonged to heaven were once yours, but now they are all lost. If such astonishment as these can seize eternal spirits, or have ye chosen this place after the toil of battle to repose your worried virtue, for the ease you find to slumber here as in the vales of heaven? So Satan says that you are uh, all great, powerful beings who once had their place in heaven, but you cannot stay there, stay in hell in that liquid fire, completely uh, exhausted and lie there like defeated souls. Okay, so you have to rise up from there and regain your energy. So this is a kind of rousing speech that Satan makes to inspire the fallen angels. Or in this abject posture, have ye sworn to adore the conqueror? So you cannot stay there and pray for mercy to the conqueror, that is to God. Uh, as Satan is completely against God, so he will never mention this particular word God, and that is why he is referring God by the use of other words or other names. Who now beholds cherub and seraph rolling in the flood. So cherub and seraph, that also means angels, rolling in the flood with scattered arms and ensigns. So they are all scattered upon the lake, defeated, lying defeated and fatigued, uh, uh, throwing up their arms and ensigns. Ensigns means banners. Banners that are used in war. Warriors used to hold banners when they participate in war. His swift pursuers from heaven gates discern the advantage and descending tread us down, thus drooping or with linked thunderbolts, transfix us to the bottom of this gulf. Awake, arise, or be forever fallen. So again a powerful line that is addressed to the fallen angels to rouse them. So Satan says that if you lie there like this, so you will remain defeated forever. So you have to rise up and take up your arms and resume your war against God, because this is their only motto. Okay, so I think we should end here. From the next day, we'll start from line number 331.